How's it going, everyone? We've got a plethora of Xbox game updates to go over in this video, and given that Xbox is very much moving towards a multi-platform approach, very relevant to now start talking about this as far as PlayStation is concerned as well. It's gonna be a little bit interesting to cover for the rest of this year. We see that while a lot of games are getting multi-platform releases, there are certainly games that are sticking to being an exclusive, probably a timed exclusive, and I think everything will eventually come to PlayStation, but a lot to talk about as far as Xbox's 2025, and to be perfectly honest with you guys, I think this Developer Direct is really the tip of the iceberg. I do think there is a little bit of a worry, and it's wild to say this about Xbox, but make sure that you time everything out and make sure that you have a solid slate of releases. Like, life doesn't end in 2025. Make sure into 26, 27, you got a healthy streamline of releases, because I could see a world where we spam a lot of good things in 25 and 26, and then all of a sudden, back to square one. But Tom Warren had a post on a lot of things coming, and he did know that Gears of War E-Day is targeting 2025, Oblivion is targeting an early summer release, and there is speculation that Contraband and Clockwork Revolution are going to be at the Xbox Showcase in June. Those games are definitely not 2025 games. Gears E-Day being a 2025 game, I think, would be the stamp of this year being insanity. Gears E-Day being 2025, and Fable not getting delayed. Those are the two big things that I think Xbox can really put a stamp on their 2025, by far running away with Publisher of the Year. If they get out Gears E-Day and Fable this year, and those games are both good, along with the slate of everything else, I mean, how could you not give them Publisher of the Year at that point? On top of that, again, the Oblivion remake, that is being rumored to release in early summer. A lot of you guys might be wondering why Oblivion remake has not been revealed yet if it's coming out, let's say, in June or July. Well, I think this would be an awful time to reveal the Oblivion remake, because that would totally take all of the attention away from Avowed. Avowed is already a game, like, you know, it is what it is. Games are all getting baked into Game Pass, but you still want these games to do very well. You still want the players to engage with the game on Game Pass. You want it to be received well. Promotionally, I just don't feel that's there for Avowed, and you reveal an Oblivion remake, that's just gonna take a lot of the attention away. Let's let these games in the spring really cook, and the winter cook. You know, let's get Avowed out more than anything, and then maybe March, April, do the reveal of Oblivion. We're doing stealth drops on these upgraded releases. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black just got a stealth drop. I'm not saying stealth drop Oblivion, but Oblivion's gonna be able to carry itself. I would say if you give it 6 to 8 weeks of lead time, boom, that's all you need. I am so done with the days of games getting revealed 6 years in advance. Like, I ain't about that life. A game like Oblivion remake getting revealed 6 to 8 weeks before, I'm totally okay with that, and I think that would be fantastic. And in the case of Oblivion remake, I do believe that would be on all platforms right away. Could even see that getting a Switch 2 release right away. Gears E-Day, on the other hand, and Fable, of course, like I said, those games, if they come in 2025, I don't see those games being multi-platform right out the gate. It'll be interesting to see how Microsoft's, you know, thought process evolves, but I talked about it with Ninja Gaiden, and Ninja Gaiden is such an interesting element and an interesting game from how Microsoft is handling it. Now, I believe Aaron Greenberg was the one that they said that they consider the game first party. Okay, how I define first party, and now the first party debate is just getting wild on social media. I've always thought first party as the studios that are under the umbrella of a Microsoft, of a PlayStation. So Insomniac Games, PlayStation owns Insomniac, that's first party. PlayStation does not own Shift Up, it's a PlayStation published game, Stellar Blade that is, but that's not a first party game. Same thing with Ninja Gaiden to me, it's not a game done by a Microsoft owned studio, it's a Microsoft published game and it's a third party deal. But I don't consider that first party, but whatever, it's in Game Pass day one, and it will be in Game Pass forever. This isn't a case like Persona 3 Reload. Because Microsoft is the publisher of Ninja Gaiden, it'll be available in perpetuity on Game Pass unless Microsoft would pull a PlayStation and decide to remove their own games from their own service, in the sense of, you know, Sony pulling Horizon. But given that Microsoft is publishing this game, I kind of view it the same way as I did Rise of the Ronin. I don't consider Ronin, I don't consider Stellar Blade first-party titles. Ninja Gaiden is interesting because Sony got the exclusivity deal with Team Ninja for Rise of Ronin. I'm sure one of the caveats they baked into it is, hey, we want this game as a PlayStation 5 exclusive for a year. Microsoft, on the other hand, they're doing this publishing deal with Team Ninja and Platinum, but they're like, hey, let's get it out on all platforms. And I think for Team Ninja, that made it a very attractive option. If Microsoft came in and they were like, hey, we don't want this game on PlayStation, Team Ninja at that point would look at it and be like, hey, Ninja Gaiden's a game that would sell a lot on PlayStation. I just think that makes a lot of sense, and I would also have to think that makes it very attractive for other developers to look at Microsoft and be like, hey, this is a good publishing partner, at least how I assess the situation. But, you know, Ninja Gaiden, that's going to be a day one PlayStation title, and it'll be interesting to see what other games end up being day one PS titles. And as far as PlayStation ports, Halo has certainly been a big talking point, and there are now rumblings that the Halo CE remake, Combat Evolved, started pre-production in January of 2024 and is now in full production. Obviously, Halo MCC has been rumored to be coming to PlayStation for a while now, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting, okay? We can't be getting to this point where we're competing with ourselves, because there's been talk about Halo Combat Evolved remake and whether or not that'll be a day one title. I don't think you should be releasing the Halo Combat Evolved remake right as Halo MCC is getting ported to all of these other platforms. Space this out a little bit. Let's get MCC out this year, and then next year, if Combat Evolved remake is ready to go, drop it then, and people will be willing to check that out as well. Would make very little sense to me to drop, let's say, Halo MCC sometime in the mid-portion of this year, and if CE Remake is done by the end of this year, I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. Now, there's also rumblings about certain Affinity's multiplayer Halo projects still being alive. Let me just say, that multiplayer Halo project, I would imagine, would be released on all platforms right out the gate. I would not make that the first foray into multi-platform Halo. That first time Halo drops on PlayStation, on Nintendo platforms, that is going to mean something. I would make that the best first impression that you could make. And what better way than MCC, to be perfectly honest? With Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, ODST, and Reach, that entire collection, you could probably price that at $60 and people would still check it out. Maybe it'll be $50. I don't know what they're going to price it at, but that's the route I would go. No reason to do a multiplayer game that's new. You don't know how it's going to resonate. MCC's proven. Let's get that on there, and I think that just makes all the sense in the world as far as the Halo game coming to PlayStation 5. But there are a lot of potential games that Microsoft could be porting, and what I would argue is, again, you just don't want to do everything all at once. People want stuff like a Fable collection, a Gears collection, you know, all this stuff is being rumored upon, and maybe Microsoft will do what Sony doesn't, and they'll look at Gears and be like, hey, people want to go back and play the older Gears titles? Let's do a collection. Now, Xbox has backwards compatibility, so, you know, it's not as big of an issue on PlayStation, but they could get those games on a bunch of different platforms. I would just argue that the rumored Gears title, unsure on whether or not it's a Gears 1 upgraded release or it's a Gears collection, but, you know, dropping Halo MCC on the rival platforms, then dropping Gears collection on rival platforms, we do gotta space this stuff out a little bit and not just spam everything at once, and you don't want to make it a world where 2025 is just this banger year and then 2026 is a little bit of a lull. And looking ahead to 2026, it does look like there's some exciting stuff, but I think spacing all of this out and making sure everything gets its moment to shine is going to be big. But there's some like 11 titles coming from Xbox this year. When you include Ninja Gaiden, which is an Xbox published game, not necessarily a first party game. However you want to describe it, this first party versus second party debate is going to go on forever now. But man, Xbox has an insane year in 2025, and it's funny that the year where I would say everybody unanimously agrees that 2025 has the potential to be absolutely insane, and I am a little bit more confident in that because we just came off Indiana Jones coming out, and Indiana Jones was great, so at least they dropped something recently that was really good. But now Xbox is doing this incredible year by the looks of it, and they're going more multi-platform, which is great for the PlayStation guys, because if you weren't going to be able to play Doom the Dark Ages, if you weren't going to be able to play Outer Worlds 2, if you weren't going to be able to play a lot of those games, you know, Oblivion Remake, those are real, they would be real drawing cards into Xbox to buy an Xbox. And those are some of the biggest games they could have in their back pocket, but at this point, you know, Microsoft does see more value in releasing their games on PlayStation. Again, I'll reiterate it once again, that's great for the guys on PlayStation. The only thing that really concerns me is PlayStation not having any competition. I want PlayStation to have a direct competitor because we've seen what happens when PlayStation just runs amok unchecked. They do some wild things, and I'm just trying to have, you know, a competitor that can give them a healthy dose of reality every now and again and give them a little bit of a check, just like PlayStation did to Microsoft back in 2013 when Xbox tried to go always online with the Xbox One. PlayStation was there to check them. There's just nobody really there to check PlayStation. Hell, now the direct competitor in a generation where I think PlayStation hasn't done very well, the direct competitor just being at the state that they are releasing their games. They're making up for PlayStation's lack of releases in a lot of ways, in the sense of, you know, first-party output from PlayStation with all of these canceled live service games. They're getting a really healthy roster of games coming to their console just based on Xbox releasing their games on their platform as well. And at this point, you know, what we know about, it's Doom. We've seen Doom titles on PlayStation. It's Outer Worlds. We've seen Outer Worlds on PlayStation. It's Ninja Gaiden. We've seen Ninja Gaiden. What it'll be a big push is once, you know, the Halo, the Gears, the Microsoft Flight Sims, games of that, the Forzas of the world, those get confirmed for PlayStation. And we already know about Indiana Jones, but that's a Machine Games title still. You know, Machine Games has dropped their games on PlayStation before. I think Halo would be the first really big one that people would be taken aback by, but we'll see how all that shapes out. But Microsoft going to be having a gigantic 2025, and that probably is going to end up meaning that PlayStation's going to have a really big 2025 as well, as far as Xbox published games coming to PlayStation. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.